So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our first official recap of Ted Lasso. Hopefully, you're here because you watched our Why You Should Be Watching Ted Lasso video. Hopefully, you enjoyed that and you went home and binge watched all those episodes to get started, and that brought you here. But before we get started with the recap, let's introduce the co-host. D, how's it going?
I'm good. Hopefully the agenda is working, and like he said, you're here because we kind of talked you into it. Not bullied. We're not bullies. Of course
No,
not.
no, not at all. Not at all.
But hopefully you watched it, and yeah. But I'm here. Hi. Glad you're joining us.
So D, I'm gonna switch it up a bit. I usually end with a tough question, but I'm going to start with a tough question. So, um, sitcoms in the past have had their tropes. Like I'll toss out one for instance. I don't know if you watch Frasier, but everyone says, okay, Daphne was chased by Niles Crane the entire show. Like he secretly had a crush on her. But that running joke ran for 8 seasons and people thought it was cool. People say the show changed once they actually got together. Same thing, I guess, with Steve Urkel and yeah, you see where I'm going with this. So when shows close up those tropes and those running jokes, there's potentially disaster. So Ted Lasso's tropes, Rebecca goes from being the mean boss to the nice boss. We now see that Roy Kent is a truly heartful dude. Do you see this show losing some of its magic in season 2? And by the way, this isn't my own opinion. I'm just tossing that out. Do you think it can basically continue on the same level as the first season, even though it wrapped up those tropes so quickly?
I think so. And the reason I think so is because we knew why Rebecca was mean in the first season. So it's not like I ever felt like that was her true character. So I could buy her being nice. Rory can work. Is it Roy? It's Roy. Roy can work if he is still who he is, but he's friendly and nice to the people he's always been friendly and nice to, right? Like if he stays his usual grumpy self, but keeps the relationship he has with Keeley, like the way he treats Keeley, because he was always different with Keeley. He was always different with Phoebe. That I could see that. But if they change him completely, I don't think that's gonna work. Like he can't be Ted or Beard or Nathan or anybody else. He has to be Roy. Still cursing, calling the kids pricks, Jesus. That's him. But that there's not anything evil behind it. It's just who he is. So to answer your question, I think it'll work, but they still gotta be true to who they are. I think they can be fine with Rebecca as long as they don't do that thing where she's heartbroken, so she's mean, and then she's nice, and then one small thing sets her off, and then she's evil again. I don't want them to do that. If she's gonna be this Rebecca, and I just want her to stay this Rebecca because Rupert is no longer controlling her emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
there's something else I'm gonna get to though that I think might be a little different that kind of pertains to that, but I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah, so my thing is, I guess let's go ahead and start kind of the brief recap. So it starts with it's funny because Ted Lasso is doing better than he did last season, but they have a long string of ties.
Still undefeated.
Danny Rojas has an extra time penalty kick, and as you see by my name, Earl the mascot does not make it. Danny Rojas, he tries to go top bins. He tries to go top left of the goal, but Earl trying to get that bird gets hit in the process and dies. But a really good moment came out of this. Our good friend Trent Krim came back once again, and Ted told this story about a dog, that he nursed to health, when he was a kid. And my only concern is that I hope this season doesn't try to like because okay, so the heartfelt moments in season one were like so organic. I hope season two doesn't try to like push the heartfelt moments into the show. Doesn't that make sense?
Because while I was watching, I'm thinking, this uh, I mean, it was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But I remember when he was telling the story, I'm thinking, where is this going? Like,
Yeah, because I had
where are
no
we
clue.
going? Where is this going? And I thought at the end it was just going to be some quip that had really nothing to do with anything, and it's just be like, okay, this is just Ted being Ted. But like you said, it ended up being this very beautiful story, and that's nice. But it's like it's kind of laying it on kind of thick, you
Yeah,
know. So
I don't want the show to do that. That's my only concern. But
yeah,
overall, I still like this episode. What about you?
I liked it. I have an idea of what's going to happen this season,
Hmm.
and um and I hope it pays off. I will say I've seen a review that says it's darker than the first. And I was like super nervous about that because I'm like, no, 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 no. It can't be dark. That's the reason I like the show. Because it's not, that's the thing about it. It's not dark. But I think they're kind of doing that thing where it's dark, meaning it's melancholy, which
Hmm.
is kind of the same thing, but not quite sad. And I think it's just going to be like a painful beauty that comes out of it, which is going to be hard to get there. But I just really hope they do it in a good way. So it's just not like every episode something sad happens, even though the show is still light, that we get sadness every episode because that is the anti bird. Like that's the antithesis of the show. I don't want that at all. I know, like at all.
So I guess let's start with Ted. Like I said, he's at a decent place because his team is doing significantly better. But I, like you said, I think we see where something is going because they suggest bringing in a sports psychologist, and Ted is like, wait, you know, motivated people is my thing. Like, why do we even need a sports psychologist? So I think we kind of see where this is going, like unpacking a few layers here, not only with like a lot of things that Ted didn't clean up from season one. I think that's where we're gonna get here.
We're gonna get a lot because they mentioned his dad died when he was
Mhm.
16, but then that was it. Like that was it. They mentioned his dad died when he was 16, and then we moved on. We didn't say anything else about it. Plus, he's got a divorce, so he's got to deal with that too. And I mean, I know he slept with Sassy, but I mean, that doesn't get you over a divorce, right? Plus, his
Mhm.
son is in another, it's across the world. I suck at geography. I just know it's far, far away. So his son's far, far away. So there has to be a part of him that is, missing them. And then the fact that he and his wife are divorcing means that there's no chance that they're moving to London, right? So he's got to
Mhm.
deal with that. Plus, like you said, the team is better, but he's still not winning. He's just tired. It's just pretty mediocre, to be honest. If you look at it from a sports standpoint, like, oh, okay, y'all good enough, but I mean, so yeah. And one last thing, the sports psychologist they brought in is very, very, very no nonsense.
Oh no, not at all. Like
So
my one of my favorite parts of the scene of excuse me of the show is where Ted asked Daddy, like, so what did she say to you? He was like, football is death, but it can also be life, but it can also be death. But most importantly, football is life. And Ted was just like,
what are you talking about? But he shouldn't have asked that anyway. Like, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't mean anything by it, but you can't ask people what you talked about in the therapy
No,
session.
no, no.
What are you doing,
But,
Ted?
but no, he I think he asked because like motivation is Ted's one thing, like getting to the
Mhm.
root of the issues. But now that this sports psychologist is here, like Ted is going to feel like, well, what am I here to do? Because I barely know this game.
And I'm glad you said that because is Ted's job getting to the root of a situation or is Ted's job making you feel better in that moment?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what this season's going to do. This season's going to show us that Ted is happy on the surface. And there's only so long you can sustain that before the rest of it comes, bubbling out. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think he's going to get in with Dr. What's her name? Sharon? Yeah,
Mhm.
Dr. Sharon. And I don't even think it's going to be on purpose. I think they might just like some kind of way start talking and he realizes that he needs help because he's already said he's anti-therapy because it didn't work for his with his wife, the counseling.
And we
Because
get a
he
glimpse. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say because he feels like he's not the counselor was against him
Mhm.
because it's not all positivity. And I think that's his struggle. Like if it's not positive, then he thinks it's I guess he's being chastised or something.
Mhm.
When it's not necessarily that, because sometimes you need reinforcement. Just because it's not positive doesn't necessarily mean it's negative either. It's just the truth. I don't know.
So,
I
so,
kind of want it, but I don't at the same time. Yeah, it's weird.
so you raise a perfect point. So, if you haven't noticed, and by the way, someone did like a great thread on this, but it was something I picked up too. Our first introduction to Ted was like um, them covering him on ESPN. We then see we only see Ted when he's facing other people. But the one time we do see Ted behind closed doors is season one. Is when they go play Liverpool and he's in the hotel and his hair is like unkempt and he's
Mhm.
like looking in front of the mirror and you could tell that he's like really down. So yeah, I do think that he uses this positivity to cover up what's like really there. And I think that's going to come out this season. And yeah, it could be like, I'm glad you invoked the word melancholy over dark because I think that's better. Like it's really going to be an exploration of people who are happy on the outside, but really dealing with some stuff on the inside.
Have you seen Inside Out?
I haven't.
Okay. I think that's what it's going to be. So pretty much the premise of Inside Out is, they show all that you have a range of emotions. There's joy, there's sadness, there's fear, all this stuff. But the moral of the story, I'm sorry if y'all haven't seen Inside Out, you should have by now, but I'm gonna spoil it. The moral of the story is everything needs to work together.
Mhm.
So I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to show him that you can live a happy and fulfilled life, but that doesn't mean that it is devoid completely of sadness. So the things that you try to block out or not feel because you think they're bad because they make you sad, sometimes you need those. Just like for instance, we need pain. So not to
Mhm.
stick your hand on the stove. It's just like that. You need to remember if something makes you sad, sometimes you need to remember it. So maybe you won't do it again, or you'll do it differently, or you can move past it, or just whatever. But I think that's what they're going to end up doing is just making this big Ted is going to be truly happy and not just well, he's going to have true joy and not just be happy. You know what I'm saying? I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Also, have you seen Magnolia?
Have not seen Magnolia. You see, you just tried to one
Because
up me. No, I
no,
haven't seen Magnolia.
because one of my that goes into my next point, but one of the best jokes of this show of this particular episode was was
Now I gotta
was
find
when
Magnolia.
yeah when Ted was like Tom Cruise has the tiny ponytail and he was like that's not Magnolia and then Coach Beer was like that is Magnolia. Basically I use that to now transition into Rebecca because she is sitting in the restaurant and Wise Up by Amy Mann plays, and that movie is in Magnolia, so you have to watch it. But it basically says that even when you're sitting there sad and you look around, like people might be sharing these same feelings as you. But yeah, what do you think about I guess Rebecca and her quest to like step out and try to meet someone?
I was happy for it. I think it is 99% because of Keely's influence. And I mean that in a good way. Like,
Mhm.
Keely's like, you are a beautiful, badass boss, and you can be somebody. It's not, I think Rebecca had this thought that she was old, and I'm sure she got most of that from the media and Rupert. But you can still be in whatever age you are and start a second, chapter of your life, or a second half, or whatever else. You can turn the page pretty much. And I'm
Mhm.
very glad she's doing that. And the thing that made me okay with what we were saying, like Roy being a little different, was that what he told Rebecca
I was
about, yeah, don't you dare settle for fine. And I really enjoyed that part of it, because Rebecca's getting back out there, but she's so used to Rupert. Like, the bars, he set the bar so low that she'd almost settle for decent. Like, she's just happy somebody's nice to her, but that's not enough, right? You should
because
be
let's face it, like
excited.
the guy she went on a date with was I, he was kind of like an asshole, but in a different way. He was a nice asshole,
Right.
but that's the thing. Roy was like, no, like you should want someone who like basically makes you feel like the world is burning, like when you're with them. Like you should want someone like that, like someone like you're excited about. Like don't just settle for okay. And shout out to Roy for saying that because yeah, that dude was a loser. But I'm glad to see. I'm glad, I'm glad to see Rebecca like stepping out and starting to finally find herself, even though I still think my prediction is yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But see, I would be okay with that being later, if they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
focus on them. The reason I usually hate the will they won't they storylines is because they focus so much on it, and they always make it where they're like right at the Taco Bell, but they never get the quesadilla. And I'm like, if you're gonna put them there, then you just gotta go for it. Or they go ahead and put them together very early, so we know, oh, they're gonna break up. Like, they gotta break up, and then they go do other stuff, and then they get back together at the end. I would much rather they just like leave them be, like let them go and date and just kind of like be girlfriends and try
Mhm.
to pretend like they are, and then just naturally, come into the whole, what, I kind of like you, well, I kind of like you too. Have I always liked you? Maybe I have. And then go with it that way, because I do want them together. I'm very much shipping Rebecca and Ted. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But I do want it, I don't want it to be awkward with them. That's a part, to me, that's the another beautiful part of the show, the rapport they have. And if they get together too soon and break up, then it's gonna mess all of it up. And I'd rather not have a storyline with them two at odds with each
Mhm.
other, and just let them be.
All right.
Me. What about Beard? Is he still with the chess girl, you think?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Because last time we saw them, she was like, "That's so sexy. I've never seen a man do that." And
Check,
he was like,
check,
"Stop,
please.
stop toying with him." Yeah, checkmate.
Check, please. To the house we go. Yeah, she was ready. She did that.
So yeah, let's shift to Roy now since we mentioned him. Obviously he has retired from the game. After suffering an injury,
Mhm.
he refuses to come to a Richmond game, which is quite sad. Um, so talk about Roy, how you think he's taking like retirement and basically feeling like he's washed up.
I don't think he's taking it well. But I think he's taking it like he can. There's one thing, if you retire because it's time and you go out on your own terms. It's totally different if it's an injury, because that's just your body saying, no, you cannot do this anymore. Like,
Mhm.
this is it. Like, it's deciding for you. So I think he's handling it the way he can. I want to add, that's where the asshole part for the dude Rebecca was coming in, because she didn't have to do that. Like, he didn't have to ask
Yeah,
about, like,
I just
what?
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
He
ahead.
didn't
Go
have to
ahead.
do that. And then um there are small things in the show that really, really just make me really happy. And I'm a big fan of people taking accountability and being adults. So when Keely brought up the sports cast, what did she call a pundit? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
She
pundit.
brought
Yeah.
up him being a pundit. I was like, Keely, come, like, don't do that, because obviously he doesn't want to do it. But then later she apologized for it. She said, I brought it up. I shouldn't have. I knew you didn't want to do it. It was tacky and I'm sorry. And I'm like, this. I just hate when writers don't write people to be decent human beings or people that like pretend like they don't understand what they've done wrong. She knew exactly what she did. She knew it was tacky. She apologized and they were able to move on. And it was fine because that's what adults do. So like the small stuff like that is what really, really, really makes me enjoy the show. What is it? It's something. Come on.
I made that face because you really know it just came back to me. You really know why that guy's an asshole?
Why?
What if you meet someone and they tell you, D, I'm an Alabama and an Auburn fan. I just root for the one that's winning at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
He said because Roy was like, who do you root for? He was like, I'm a City and a United fan. You don't do that. You do not do that. Like, who does that?
Especially when you know I am from one of those teams, like you said. Like
right.
you know.
So they wanted you to know that this guy is just a absolute loser. Like, what a loser.
He really was. I'm glad they did that. I'm glad you said that because, of course, I don't watch soccer. So that reference is kind of... I mean, I got it, but I didn't realize how close it was to Roy. And he had to know he was going to ask, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then he did a little cheer. He's here. So, like, you know who he is. You know what he does. So why would you disrespect him like that? Or at least stand in it. I say, well, I love you, but...
Yeah.
War Eagle.
So what do you think happens with Roy? Do you think he takes that pundit job, or do you think? I personally think he, Coach Lasso brings him on as a coach on the staff. Like, so what do you think happens with Roy?
That's where I expected him to be when the season started. Mm-hmm. Like when he got hurt last season, my guess or my prediction for season 2 was that Roy was going to be coaching either with Ted or like an opposing team, like, or with Jamie, you know what I mean? Like with wherever Jamie was, something along those lines. I mean, I'm just saying, we know, but still. So I thought he was going to be something like that. I didn't expect the children until I saw it. The way he was talking to them, the fact that they didn't show the team, I was like, oh, these are little kids he's talking to. Obvious that they're little kids. So it seems that he just truly does not want to be a pundit. So I can't tell if he doesn't want to from pride, he doesn't think he'll be good at it, or he just doesn't want to do it. So if it's just a pride thing, I think Keely will help him work through it, and maybe he will be a pundit at the end. But I honestly think he's going to be a coach, some kind of skills coach or something. Do they have skills coaches in soccer?
I mean, there are like different like coaches for like different things on a staff. So yeah, like because like one of Manchester United's own midfielders is on their staff, and he specifically works with like them on like passing drills and stuff. But no, like there are specific roles for specific players. So I could definitely see Ted joining the staff, which brings me to one of the more interesting changes on the show. Nate the Great. Like I was like, huh.
That hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It did. It hurt my feelings.
And you can see Ted like kind of like not like approaching it head on, but he was kind of like just saying like, hey man, you need to chill because
it's like we were talking about on the last video when we were saying that a lot of times in the shows the bully becomes the bully.
Uh-huh.
And it's looking like that's what it is. And hopefully it was a one-off and he just needed a reality check. But it didn't feel that way. It felt very mean girlish, mean boyish. Because I didn't like that at all. Like I was really like it was sad. It was like a dagger. What are you doing?
Because Nate becoming a coach like was such a big deal, and now Ted is asking like, how do we fix Danny? And he's like, maybe we show him his massive paycheck, and just like what?
Yeah, that, and then when he was talking to the kid, what's his name? What is it? The Kid Man? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Kid Man.
When he talked to him, I'm like, because what he
like
asked
you
to
were
leave
just
early
there.
I'm like, why are you? Yeah, where did this come from? And I'm wondering if there's like some new swag he's gotten, some new respect he's gotten. Are people starting to notice him? Do they recognize him? Is he getting women? What it is? And again, Sharon might come in and fix all of that too. Because we really don't know Nathan's story outside of him being bullied and him being a kid. Man, I don't know his life story, or at least I don't remember it. Which I guess in itself is kind of sad, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're about to find out.
Yeah, but I didn't like that at all. Oh my gosh, I hated it.
Yeah, that was like really jarring to see. Like that's gonna be a tough one to see play out, because surely like there's gonna be a time where Ted just says like, okay, Nate, like you really need to relax.
Yeah, you need to dial it back.
Because that doesn't jive with the coaching style that Lasso and Beard have anyway. So like, where's they even coming from?
Or the Diamond Dogs. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they were the Diamond Dogs.
Dog, wait. Hopefully he'll get it together though, because I don't like that. Not at all.
I don't like that at all.
Let's see, who else? Is that everybody? Oh, Keely. I mean, I think Keely's gonna be Keely. Like, I really don't.
Yeah, Keely is just Keely. Yeah,
she's gonna be fine. Oh, Jamie Tart.
Oh, on Love Island.
Jamie Tart from Love Island. Why is he on? Is he not playing? Why is he on this show?
This is just something he's doing in the off season, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I guess because they could have filmed it and then whatever.
Yeah.
But it still shows that there's still something that Roy is feeling towards Jamie, because he was very upset when his girls were like, Jamie's Taylor, look at that Jamie's high. He was upset, like really hurt. So I don't know. It's a lot. I mean, it's one episode, it was 30 minutes, but it's still, the building was there. Like you can see that there's going to be quite a bit of things that we have to like move towards or move past this season. Nathan being my main priority, because
yeah, I don't like that at all. I'm curious to see how Sharon, like how she comes into play with all of these different situations, in particular Nate, but like just overall.
I think she's going to have a very easy time with the team, because they kind of seem to want to be there. And if she got through to Danny in a day, I think she's going to fly through them. But the rest of them, I think it's going to be something. And the rest of them, probably more so Ted and Nathan, looks like, because I think everybody else seems to be pretty much okay.
All right.
I guess. Yeah.
Also, shout out to the accurate depiction of a striker. Danny Rojas in bed with two women, because strikers are typically the horniest human beings on earth. So nice to touch that.
Football is bad. I'm like, you serious about football? That there's a woman on either side of you right now. You wake up out of a thing on nightmare screaming football is death. But you were all right to get this to happen. So please. Yeah. I mean, but Danny Rojas is a very positive individual, It's not hard for him to get women anyway. Him being a striker, I'm sure, just makes it a bit easy. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got for this recap. You got I guess you got one prediction you want to put on the books now that you want to stick with?
Ted is gonna have another breakdown. It might not be another panic attack, but it might be. And maybe that's where Sharon's gonna come in. Like maybe he has a panic attack and Sharon's like, helps him through it, or doesn't give him the same anxiety that the other therapist gave. And I want to add, I don't necessarily think that the therapist was biased. I just think Ted is so used to being the nice guy, literally the nice guy, the kind guy, that when somebody tells him he's done something wrong, it doesn't register, because there's never any malice in his heart. Like he never meant to hurt anybody. He never wanted to make people feel this way, but that doesn't mean you didn't do it. So like, I think he said his wife's main concern was that his positivity was like overwhelming. And I can see that. Like it's hard to be around somebody that's on all the time. And he seems to be one of those people. And I think if the therapist said that to him, then it just hurt his feelings. And just because your feelings are hurt, again, doesn't mean that what they're saying is true or that it's mean or that they're trying to hurt your feelings. It's just true. So I'm thinking Sharon is going to come in and just like make him realize these hard truths, because Beard does it, but it's more on a surface level still.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always his hype man. He's always got his back. So I'm not sure he has somebody that's not a yes man. And that's not a negative towards Beard. That's just true.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what Sharon's going to be. I don't know. That's my prediction. I think he's going to have another panic attack and they're going to have to get it under control. What you think? Oh, I also don't know if they're going to get together this season. Like it might.
No.
And they might kind of like sprinkle it in there. Kind of. Because I'm glad they didn't do it when they had the little girl talk thing. Because I thought they were going to kind of show him getting jealous then, but he didn't. So I hope they keep that, and then later on just kind of put it in there. So yeah,
it's gonna be like you said, like they're gonna realize like, oh, we liked each other this entire time.
Yeah, I didn't know. Wow, well here it is. But yeah, what about you? What prediction do you have? You make a prediction for the season or like the next episode?
Just for the season, like I said, just Coach Roy Kent. Like I think he's gonna be a coach. Like he might try to be a pundit, and then he's gonna call somebody a prick on live TV. And then Ted is gonna be like, "Hey man, just come coach for me." So Coach Roy Kent. Gonna be like Ron Burgundy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, that's all we have for this week. Thanks for watching. Join us every week for these recaps. Let us know what you think. Until next time, peace.